Well, this is going to be great.
Welcome to the White House Pod with David A.R. White.
Roger, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm great, David. How are you? The sun just got a little brighter because you walked into the room.
Did it really?
It's overcast outside, but in here, the sun is bright.
I think that, you know what, as much as I would love to say that has something to do with me, Raj, I actually think it has to do with Colton Dixon.
True.
That's what I'm really thinking.
Absolutely.
That's why he's wearing a cowboy hat, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, this guy, the winner on American Idol, not to mention, how many followers does this guy have? And millions and millions of listeners.
Puts a song out. It's got like 35 million people, listening to the song. It's huge.
It is huge. I mean, I was looking at him on Spotify, right? I was looking him up and listening to some of his tunes, and I was like, good grief, is this guy not only good looking, which is just annoying, but B, like, what an incredible musician.
Yeah, Miracles. That's a great tune.
Yeah, it is. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the record, before we introduce Colton Dixon to you, you guys are going to really, really, really want to tune into YouTube today, because YouTube, we are going to show you more Colton Dixon than you've ever seen on American Idol or ever before on this YouTube podcast right now. And then if you're driving, that's fine too. Fortunately, Colton has an incredible voice, and he will hopefully not, you'll just be going, my gosh, thank God I found Spotify, iHeartRadio. And anyway, all right. The man, the myth, the legend, Colton Dixon, thank you so much for being here.
Man, thanks for having me. I need to take you guys with me everywhere. It's the best intro I think I've ever had. So thanks for that.
Look at that hat. Wow.
Yeah,
Where do we get hats like that? Raj has been looking for one for a long time.
Oh, yes. Is that his own brand?
Are you selling hats now? You should be making those hats.
I should be. There's an artist named Jordan Felice who's kind of known for like hats, and I just did 2 tours with Jordan, and I feel like he finally convinced me. He's like, you got to go out and get a flat brim hat. You got to you're not a real artist unless you own a flat brim hat.
Is that because you live in Tennessee? Is that what that is, or what?
Yeah, spent a lot of time in Tennessee. We spent a lot of time out in California as well. You said it was gloomy today.
Yep. Even though the sun's shining in here, it's gloomy outside as normal. It's like June gloom. It's like, whatever. Anyway,
that is what it is.
All right. So where are you? That's a cool bed you got going on there. Is that your bed? Is this the bed, or is that a
sofa?
That's a sofa.
That would be super cool to be doing, video interviews just while I'm posted up in bed. But no, this is the sofa.
Well, it looks like you could sleep on that. That is for sure.
You absolutely could.
And I got corrected early on, audience, that the chalkboard behind Colton right now. You got to tune into this on his YouTube. Tell us what you think. Leave a comment on this. This we hate to break it to you, but this is not a chalkboard. This is like a modern piece of art that if you're like a rock star, that's what you have behind you.
Modern art at its finest.
All right, so wait, are you living in Nashville right now? Is this where you're coming to us from? So
my family and I kind of split our time between California and Nashville. So I'm actually in Marina Del Rey, California right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, Marina Del Rey. Okay, so you're seeing the gloominess outside too. It's
for sure. Yeah. Where are you guys at?
Burbank. We're over here by Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
That's hilarious. All right. So where are we from? Are you from California? From Tennessee? Where are you from?
From just outside of Nashville, a town called Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. It's like 45 minutes outside of Nashville.
Mm-hmm. And did we always want to be a rock star, or did we have were we headed in other directions at some point?
Yeah, I think music was always raising its hand. I loved baseball when I was really young, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, but gave that up for music at about 14 years old.
It's hard to wear that hat out on the
yeah,
out of the field.
Fashion scene amongst the baseball players is not, not quite where I need it to be. So, but I love baseball as a pitcher. Really loved it. But I'm really glad I chose music. So
where did you go to? So where were you going to high school? in Tennessee?
Yeah, it was a private school called Middle Tennessee Christian School. Super thankful for that school. Taught me a lot about a lot of things, but faith in general was big at the school. So I'm thankful for that, to have that foundation there. And they also had cool opportunities like theater and baseball, and not every private school gets those things. So I was thankful for that.
And then where do we go to college? I mean, I could look at I have a whole sheet of your bio here and everything. But where do
technically I went to Middle Tennessee State University in TSU. However, also technically I was there for a month. So
not a very long stint there.
Not very long, not really long enough to claim it. Love that school, but I did the American Idol thing. Auditioned that summer before I went to college, and didn't really find out that I was going to be on the show until into the school year. So I was in a little over a month, and then found out I was going to be missing all my midterms to go to Hollywood Week. So it kind of was like,
Are you 18 years old at this time, or 19?
I'm 18.
Wow.
At the time, and so I sat my parents down. I'm like, hey, here's the decision that has to be made. What do we think? And they're like, man, just treat it like it's, your job, and it's what you're going for. And that's what you're going to school for, was commercial voice. So what a cool opportunity. Go for it. Doesn't work out, we just ask that you maybe give college another go.
Are you the oldest
Thank God
kid?
it worked out.
Yeah, I'd
am,
say
yeah.
It worked out. Okay, so you're the firstborn. And it's like,
Firstborn.
so that was a big deal then for your parents. Now, had you been singing since the time you were like Whitney Houston, back in the day when she was, 5 years old? I saw the movie recently.
No, I wish.
Like, when did you start
about
singing?
Voice.
Yeah.
Man, I started singing when I was 13. Kind of crazy story. I'll keep it short. I was taking piano lessons a few years, and my teacher basically forced me to sing at a piano recital. I showed up that day, and he's like, hey, I set up the microphone. You're going to sing as well. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea. I'm a 13-year-old boy, fill in the gap there. But I did. And man, I just
was
knew
your
that
voice
music was
still
gonna be a
like
thing.
going, were you talking like this?
Oh, I guarantee it was. I haven't seen video. I don't know that I ever saw a video.
Oh, we have a video right here. We're going to show you. We're going to show you this video.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Play
Right,
it.
Dylan?
How cool would that be? That'd be terrifying. But it's funny. Like, sometimes I feel like what we do just kind of falls into our lap. We're not necessarily actively looking for it. And that was one of those moments for me. Like, I loved music, but didn't think that I was going to be, growing up to make music for other people. But that was the moment I knew that it was going to play an important role in my life. So started pursuing it and gave up baseball kind of around that time. And
hold on. When
yeah.
you first sang into this mic for the very first time, you felt like this was going to be something big in your life?
Yeah, I knew it.
Wow.
I'm a church kid, so I kind of relate it to, like, man, I really feel like I encountered God and Holy Spirit that day. And I just knew that this was going to be it. So this was kind of what he had for me. So yeah, wild.
Wow.
At 13, but
That's pretty cool. I kind of have a similar thing like that. I did The Wizard of Oz when I was in 8th grade. It was for the high school, but I had never acted before in my life, right? And so it was like, I got pulled up from, actually, I think it was a 7th grader. I got pulled up into the high school to do this thing. And I was like, and all of a sudden something snapped inside of me that said, oh, wow, I love this. And of course, I never acted again until my senior year, until I had a produced place, because we didn't have a drama division after that. But
oh no.
But that's interesting, though, that you kind of wonder, though, if that's a God thing, that he turns, he turns that switch on in you. If that happens to normal people.
Yeah, that's cool that you have a similar thing. I feel like with what we do, we meet a lot of people who kind of do things outside the norm, right? Whether it's acting or music or whatever. And I feel like that's a fairly common thread sometimes you find people who like, no, this is always my dream and it's always what I wanted to do. And I didn't take no for an answer. You know, they just kept pursuing it. But more often than not, it's something that kind of like, it's like this desire that God puts on their heart, you know, and they develop this love for this thing.
Yeah.
That God orchestrated
but I don't think it always happens
see.
on the first boom, the first time up, though, is my point.
Yeah,
that's
that may be true.
Because there's a lot of stories about people, they gravitate toward it, but there's both, you know, it's an interesting dichotomy of the calling, you know, a calling on your life.
Yeah.
Anyway,
For
I
sure.
digress. Okay, so from 13, you know you want to sing then. How in the world do you go and you audition for American Idol? Like, where does that, like, is your voice just naturally, like, gifted, even going all through high school?
I would say no. I could carry a tune, but I think that there was also a lot of development that had to happen. Like I feel like that when people talk about like a gifting or like whatever, whether it's acting or music, whatever, singing, I still think that there's a lot of responsibility on our part to develop that and to put in the time and the work and to get it to where it needs to be. So in high school, I was doing theater, I was doing choir, I was doing anything music related that I could be a part of kind of within my peer group. I was going for it. Was in the band, you know, leading worship at church as well. And I feel like those things really taught me a lot. But honestly, as far as like technically with singing, I don't know if you remember Disney Channel movie called High School Musical.
That was Roger's
the movie
favorite.
Came out.
You saw it like 37 times, right, Raj?
Of course.
Dude, it's awesome. So as soon as the movie came out, like my school was like, as soon as they released a thing for the play, we're going to do the play. So I was a freshman in high school, and the rights to the play came out. But those songs are really rangy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm not there. But going to a small private high school, there aren't a lot of options for guys who are even just willing to be, you know, cast as a lead in a play. So I put in the time and the work and eventually got to where I could hit those notes, not as comfortably as I would like, but it was things like that in my high school
So
career.
you were a
that
freshman and you were the lead in the musical.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
I mean, that
might
really
sound
kind
a
of
certain
says,
way.
oh, no, it sounds like the guy who's then going to go on to American Idol at 18 and win that. You know, it's like.
It was one of the stepping stones, I will say, that helped prepare me for something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we graduate high school. You go out to you're 18 years old. You go to Hollywood for the first time, or had you been there before?
First time that I could remember. I think we went when I was really young to visit some family out in California, but first time that I could remember.
Okay. And how was that? Like, walk me through American Idol. Like, do we just do you know what you're singing at this point? Because you auditioned with something, right?
Correct. Yeah. So Hollywood, everything's pretty much unknown. American Idol likes to keep it that way. They like to keep all the contestants in the dark. So you'll find out what you're singing like either a day before you have to sing it or several hours before you have to sing it. It's kind of crazy, very stress inducive. But I think it's doing something like American Idol is like the ultimate, like big fish, small pond story. Like within my circle, it was kind of like, I don't know, you just kind of like, you compare yourself to where other people are and what they're doing and what you want to do, which in my case was music. So it was like, okay, no one's really pursuing music the way I am. So maybe I've got a shot. But then you go out for something like American Idol and you're like, oh, there are thousands of me here in this competition. Wow. And most, if not all of them, are better than I am. You know, it's like, wow, that's really crazy. But you know, it's kind of like goes back into no one can do you better than you. And I'm thankful that American Idol is also like a TV show. So they're casting for a TV show, right? So I don't have to size myself up against like the Black gospel singers who've been singing since they could talk, like Whitney Houston, you know? So I just tried to be me the best I knew how, and it turned into something crazy. So
how long? Okay, so you go on the show. You're how many episodes do you do with this? Like how many?
So
forgive me, I don't actually watch American Idol too often. Raj,
yeah,
have
no,
you
that's
watched?
fine.
Are you big?
Totally missing out.
I've watched
but
it since
it's
the beginning.
fine.
I remember he and his sister.
Yeah. Okay. So Roger, that's Roger is of course famous publicist to the stars. So of course he watches American Idol and picks up stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
promotes it.
If I could ballpark, probably like, I don't know, 20 to 30 episodes, maybe. Like total
for the
that
season
you're a part of for the
Yeah.
season.
Wow,
yeah.
that's a lot of episodes. And how many of them do you shoot a day, or is it just one episode a day, or are you doing multiples?
What's interesting is until you make the live show, they don't feel like it's like here's episode 1, here's episode 2. You're just kind of a part of these moments. You're having to sing several times. I would say like from start to finish, you probably have to sing between 15 and 20 songs, of like, solo songs, but
over the
like the whole.
how long? Like what is the duration of that?
We started our audition process in the summer.
Okay.
And it takes you, I think the finale is end of April, beginning of May, or it was at the time. I think they've shortened the show since then. But it was a long haul, crazy roller coaster of a show.
Now, did we meet our wife there too?
So I came off the show.
The first season, the first time?
You'll appreciate this.
10th season, right?
So I actually auditioned 2 different seasons. The first season I got cut just before the live shows.
Is that
and then
the
my
10th
sister wanted
season?
to go back. That was season 10.
10.
Yeah, I think that was season 10.
Dylan's shaking
and then
his
I
head
went
that
back
it's
for
10.
11. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try.
Fortunately,
I'll
it's on the
trust them.
YouTube. As you're watching
Yeah,
this right
perfect.
now, you're like, right there, it's season 10. It says season 10.
For sure. Yeah, so we went back kind of for my sister, and I got looped into the thing again, which is a crazy story.
What do you mean? Wait. What, you got looped in with your sister? Is your sister's performing as well, right? Again, it's on the YouTube right now. We're watching it.
Yeah, full story. We grew up watching Idol.
Are you guys singing duets, kind of like the Osmonds, or what are we doing here?
Oh, not currently. She's doing her own thing. I'm doing my own thing.
No, but back on
the first
on
tour
Idol.
I did
On Idol.
on Idol. Yeah, we kind of like. At first, we didn't say we were related, just to see what happened.
Okay.
And we both made it through.
But
and
isn't
then we
her
told
last
them,
name
and
Dixon too, as well?
It is, but those we call them cattle call auditions.
Right.
There's an arena full of people.
Oh, you're not singing together. It's not like you're singing a duet together. You're
correct.
Okay, so it's like there's a lot of people here. Wow. Is your sister
a lot of
younger or
people.
older than you?
She's 3 years younger.
3 years younger. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we grew up watching Idol. She wanted to go. So I went and auditioned with her that first season. We both get cut before live shows. She wants to go back and do it again. And so I'm like, that's cool. That was really stressful. I'm going to go to support you and, not do it this season. But during her audition, the judges asked, what I was up to, how I was doing, because they remembered her and I from the last season. And she's like, oh, he's here, just cheer me on. They're like, oh, go get him, bring him in. So I walk in and it was immediate, like, dude, you got to audition. Like, you got to sing. You got to do this. You were so close, and I'm like, this whole dichotomy of like, I would love another opportunity, but also I don't want to crash my sister's audition. This is her moment. But she was so kind and kind of got the blessing from her. So I sang, and that was the year.
Is she the middle daughter now?
I made it as far as I did.
Is she the middle daughter?
Sorry?
Is she the middle daughter?
She is. No, she's still the youngest. Parents just have 2.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if she was the middle daughter, there might have been a problem there, Her going, hey, wait, whoa, you're crashing my space here. I'm the middle person. I'm the middle.
What's funny is, I mean, it's a TV show, so I feel like they tried to spin it that way, at first.
Yeah.
Like they kind of showed her giving a look, I'm like, oh man, they did her so dirty. But she was so supportive and thrilled that I was there with her, and we had a good time.
And that's
doing that show
season
together.
11, correct?
That was season 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you came in 7th, and where did she place?
She got cut kind of where I did the first year I tried out. So she got cut just before the live shows, the top 40 or so. Yeah, I know. And that was a tough day.
Wow. Okay, but did you guys sing together then on the show?
I don't know if they
Roger, did they sing together?
I don't think
we did.
so. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we're showing
I don't
we're
think we
showing that
did.
you're singing separately right now on our YouTube.
Yeah, even in group,
Comment if
we
you
kind
guys
of
wish
thought-
that they would have sang together. I want to know this right now. Do you wish that this brother-sister duo would have sang like the Osmonds together?
looking back, we probably should have.
That would have been a cool
jumped
moment for
together.
you to like been, when you're 80 years old and you're like, Robbie, this is your aunt and I were singing.
For sure. Yeah, probably should have.
Now they just have to watch the whole season and watch you guys do your things.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what? So do you ever want to go back to American Idol? Is this like, I'm going to go back to season 32, like, or is it once kind of like you did it twice? Is that correct?
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that's
would
a
I
lot.
ever go back and do it again? That's a hard pass.
Is it?
It's
Is it also because kind of like you're a professional now, now that you're a professional a recording artist, singer, you have millions of followers, that you go, like the American Idol wouldn't even let you on because you're no longer, it's like the Olympics, once you turn professional, you can't go back in?
Well, I think age would play into that too. I think the cutoff is like 27 or 28. I'm 32 now. So I think that would play a factor, but I don't know how all that works actually. Maybe if you've ever had like a professional deal, or if you're currently in like a recording contract, you can't do that. But I've also known people, I'm like, wow, I like actually recognize them, have listened to their music, and they're on like Idol or The Voice or something like that. So I actually have a friend who did Idol, got cut just before he was in top 24, and he went on to do The Voice, so I'm not really sure how that works.
All right, so but
if at first you don't succeed, try again.
try again. But I don't know. I mean, you've done pretty darn good. Like so when you get out of, now you're out of Idol, like where do you go from there? Do you just immediately start recording something? Does Idol produce something like they do with America's Got Talent? I think they actually like produce shows and all that stuff. Is it the same type of a thing?
Yeah. Kind of. So the winner is guaranteed a recording contract, but then I believe it's the top 24. You kind of all sign what that contract is.
Yep.
And it is then American Idol's company called 19 Entertainment. They basically have the right to pick up anyone that they see an opportunity with. Was my understanding at the time. And I was one of those people who they decided to pick up. So as soon as I got eliminated, which is number 7, I started writing. And I'm actually super thankful. I got to meet another contestant on the show from a prior season named Chris Daughtry, and big Daughtry fan back in the day, still am. And he told me, he's like, I know it seems like you're doing a lot of work, putting in a lot of time right now, but the real work begins when the show ends. And I'm so thankful for that, even just little nugget, because it's true. Like whenever I really got to work was once I was off the show, started writing. I did it was 14 songs in 13 days. It was bonkers.
Wow.
Like the amount of songs that we were putting out, especially for me at the time. And we had almost 100 songs to choose from for my first record. It was just a really busy time. So I'm thankful for that.
When you say 100 songs
I got
to choose
work
from, other people write those songs for you, or are they
I wish.
Did you have? You didn't have to create all 100, did you? When you say you had to pick from 100 songs,
I'm writing with other people, but I'm in the room writing. Occasionally, we'll hear a song that we're like, "Hey, we really like this song. Can we add our thing to it and kind of collaborate?" But most of the time, 99% of the time, it's me writing with other people.
Wow. Okay. And do you always write your own stuff, or do you now record off of other people have written?
I prefer to write my own. It feels more authentic that way. Like I said, like every once in a while, like I think I've recorded 2 songs that I didn't write, but they were too good to pass up, and I connected with them immediately, and the writers were kind enough to let me use them. So yeah.
Okay, so you released that album then, right? On through their label, right? Which blows you up. You go traveling everywhere. You're on tour. How long does that last before then you're not still with them now, right? You have a different brand that you're.
Correct. Yeah. So that ended after album number 3.
Okay.
So Idol basically did a joint contract with Capital Christian Music Group. I love the nitty gritty, by the way. I love this conversation.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Even making me remember things. No, I think it's awesome. They did a joint deal with Capital Christian Music because Idol realized pretty quickly Christian music was kind of where I was going, and they didn't know a lot about the Christian music space. So they did a partner deal with Capital CMG, and we did 3 records together, and then that ended, which was in end of 2018 is when that ended.
Okay.
So it lasted for 6 years.
Wow. Okay. And now, and then do you, how often do you release an album now?
You know, I would say, we actually went from releasing albums to EPs, and it's less on what I want to do and more on what, the average person can consume. Our attention spans have gone down. So we've realized it's kind of more beneficial to everyone if we put out just a few songs at a time. But I would say every 1.5 to 2 years is whenever I release a new project.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when every 1.5, 2 years, and you can only release like 4 songs every 1.5 or 2 years?
It's like probably like 5, 6 songs.
Wow.
But we're releasing them. It's not like we'll do a chunk and then we'll wait 1.5 and then release another chunk. We're releasing, we'll release singles. Like last Friday, I released a new single. And then
what was it called?
It's called Up and Up.
Nice.
Check it out. I hope you love it.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun recording it, but so we'll release a song, and then it's probably going to be the radio single. So we'll let it kind of do its thing. But as it's doing its thing, we're writing more songs and packaging a project around that single. So
and how about
it really
touring?
feels like every.
What and how often are you touring too with this?
I feel like I'm always touring.
Are you on tour right now?
Some people we just ended a big tour that happened this spring. We've got some summer festivals, but then we'll do another big tour in the fall. I typically do like 100 to 120 dates a year touring.
It's a lot.
This last year we did 130 dates, and it was too much. It was a lot of shows.
Is your wife is she a musician as well?
She actually does music as well. Yeah. She's just getting her feet wet on the music side, putting out songs, and couldn't be more proud of her. But yeah, so she's musically inclined as well.
Where do you guys, where'd you guys meet?
We met, I think you'll know this reference. We met at a place called the Viper Room on Sunset Boulevard.
Wow.
In Hollywood, California. Yep. God works in mysterious ways. I'll just say that. We were there separately with some mutual friends.
Who owns the Viper Room, Roger? Because Johnny Depp used to.
I think he still owns.
Does he?
But there's a couple other people now that
bought into it.
Yeah.
Colton probably knows this. Who owns the Viper Room?
Actually, I don't know that. I had heard that Johnny Depp owned the Viper Room.
Yeah, he did for years and years.
It was hearsay.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that he still did it. Okay, go. I'm sorry. So you meet at the Viper Room, and what kind of a meeting is that?
There was a guy who was actually on The Voice.
Somebody, you were seeing somebody perform there, right? I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was a show there. Yeah. And so we kind of met through mutual friends, and my wife is very attractive, and I was single at the time, and thought, wow, what a beautiful woman. I have no chance.
Yeah.
At
Well, I
all.
mean, because,
Just kinda saw
Roger,
her
because
outside.
Colton's not attractive at all either. It's
Oh, he's got what a burden he has to bear.
I mean, if you guys really want to tune into the YouTube right now, you'll see what a burden that Colton and all of us have to bear too for looking at Colton.
and the smile, his
Yeah,
smile.
I can't even imagine a good-looking girl thought he was attractive. This is amazing to me. Comment, guys. I want your comments right now. Tell me what you think of Colton's hat and the way he looks like. You look like you're living in Tennessee right now. Either that or on a farm in Kansas. All right, but I digress. Okay, so she actually thought you were attractive, and did we talk? Did you go out on a date? What happened here?
We talked at the show, and I swindled her out of giving me her number, and she basically said,
"That's the way it's done."
The stars aligned, and she said that she wanted to do music, she wanted to travel, she wanted to do something in ministry. I'm thinking in my head, like, check, this is what I do. Were
there faith-based? Was it a faith-based person performing?
Not necessarily. He's a believer, and has a crazy testimony, but was just a friend of my friend. So I'm like, I've got the night
And was
off.
she a friend of somebody's friend too? She must have been, clearly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Do
we know her name? Is her name in here? Or do we don't
Annie.
say that?
Her name is Annie.
Okay, Annie.
Yeah, Annie.
Annie. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? You know that song, Roger.
Of course, MJ.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Colton, how many people bring that up every time, Annie? That's probably a question for Annie, but
it's not the first time.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Yeah. Well, there's
She's
no
also
originality
Annie from
happening
Oklahoma.
on the White House pod over here.
But she, I told her that I sang for a living. She had no idea who I was, which was also kind of nice to have a normal conversation with someone.
Were you wearing the hat, or were you not wearing the hat?
Not this hat. I was wearing.
Was your hair like
it
perfectly?
Was way more boring of a hat.
Oh, you actually were
wasn't.
wearing a hat, though.
The hair was
look
not
at that
out.
hat.
Yeah. But I told her I would give her the number of my vocal teacher in Nashville. She ever was like going through Nashville
that's a good
wanted
pickup
to
line.
take vocal.
Remind me to use that one, Raj.
My
you
wife
got
out of
it.
her number.
Noted.
Yeah. Great pickup line right there.
Yeah. Like, what do you like? You like art. I can give you the number of my painting teacher in Guam.
Totally, 100%. It worked. That's all that matters. But it's funny.
Did she ever go to that teacher?
Tour,
Did she ever go to that teacher? Probably not.
like 2 years ago.
Oh, but that was way after you guys were already. Yeah, you were an item.
So 10 years later, she finally went to this. Yeah.
Yep.
So I still owe a lot to my vocal teacher.
No, you don't. You don't know.
anyway.
Well, yeah. Other than you could have just handed her a 555-291-38 number, and she would have been like, "This is great. I'm going to call this number," of which she would never call.
True. That's true. That is true.
It's just a little bit of information for those who meet a girl you like. That's what you do. You don't have to even have a number.
That's not true.
Or even a person.
Always tell the truth. One thing I've learned in marriage and in relationships: always tell the truth.
All right,
Because they're gonna
Colton.
find
Wow,
out.
we're getting wisdom from a young lad like Colton here, Raj.
Yeah.
Wow. Hold on, let me write that down. Tony, you got that? You typing that out?
Tell the truth.
All right. So wait. So
truth.
we get married. How fast do we get married? How long does this last? Before?
It was 4 years of dating, long distance actually, which
because you're on
don't
tour.
recommend.
You're a massive rock star.
I'm on tour,
Yeah.
so schedules were crazy and busy, and but still, I knew pretty early on that Annie was really special. I wanted to marry her. Knew all of this really early on.
Like from the
but
moment
still,
you met her, you're like, wow, this could be. Or like, I mean, did you go home that night and go, wow?
I
hope
kind of
she
went
calls
home
my
that
voice
night
teacher.
and was like, wow, she's really special. Really like Annie. I think this could turn into something bigger than what I, could imagine. That it was that. I didn't know if she was the one per se or, whatever, but I knew it was really special. We date for 4 years long distance, which felt like about a year of normal dating just because we weren't seeing each other that much. And proposed. She said yes. And then we've been married for 8 years. So
Nice. Do we want kids or no kids?
We have twins. We have
you
identical girls.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll be 4 in August.
Wow.
So
that's fun.
It's a crazy house. It is a fun house.
Do they come on tour with you when you go on tour?
We did that one time. And we realized very quickly that we need another set of hands if we're going to do it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You got to have a nanny.
It's a lot. I was a zombie before the show even started. So I'm like, okay, we need to bring your mom either needs to come out on the road with us as well, or, we need to figure out something. So, that was last summer that we did that. So we're like, okay, let's, wait for the girls to get a little bit older, a little more independent, and then let's try this again.
That's funny. All right. So hold on a second. Okay. You're in a new movie coming up, right? Is there a movie coming out, or
I've
is
got
it
a song?
Okay.
It's called Sight. And craziest thing happened. I wrote a song at the beginning of this year in 2024. And it was kind of just about like the moment like faith entered into my life and I met Jesus. I knew that life was forever going to be different. So it's kind of about that, and even just that commitment to myself that, hey, I'm going to love harder. I'm going to reach higher. I'm going to like be everything that God made me to be from now on. So we wrote that song, thought it was special from the moment we wrote it. And then Angel Studios somehow hears this song and they go, oh my gosh, we've been looking for a song to kind of like tie our movie together at the end. And we think this is the one. Can we use it? And we're like, well, yes, but 1, we haven't finished it yet. And 2, that obviously means it's not out yet. So
how did they hear the song? How did they hear the song? Like who
I think one of the writers.
Okay. That makes more sense.
One of the writers that I wrote the song with wrote it with 2 other guys. He's friends with someone at Angel Studios. So I assume something happened organically there. They maybe asked him, hey, have you written anything lately that is raising its hand for film? So he probably pitched that song to them, which so thankful. Thank you, John Robert Hall. Appreciate you. So we went in and finished the song in like a couple days, got it mastered and sent it off to them. And it is now the final song that you hear before they show like the real life footage and pictures of Dr. Ming Wang's story, which is a Chinese immigrant coming over to America. And he basically restores sight. Literally kids who have never seen, kids and adults who have never seen before in their life. He does it for free for orphaned kids. It's really remarkable story. Worth a watch. Great film.
And now have we released this? No kidding. Have you released this single yet? Have you released it already?
Yes. Song officially came out like 4 weeks ago, something like that. The response has been amazing. I'm so thankful that people are enjoying the song. I will say the song it just really comes to life in the context of this film as well. They did a great job pairing.
Is this your first time of having your song in a movie before?
I think like a major motion picture like this. Yes. Yeah. I think, we got to go to the premiere in LA last week.
Nice.
And it was just so cool. That was my first time seeing it in context with my song. And it kind of ignited something new in me to go, wow, like what I do is so much just audible. It's what you can hear. But now having what I can hear with what I can see, kind of that marriage, it made me want to do more of it. So I was telling like all the producers, I'm like, hey, if you've got something in mind and you want a dude's voice on it, let me know. I love this and would love to do more of it. So yeah,
that's cool. Okay, so we got to wrap up, but I wanted to ask you for all the kids out there, and I'm sure you get this every single night. So fortunately, you have an answer. How?
I hope I do.
Yeah, of course you do. What do you tell them when they say, I want to be a rock star like you? How do I do it?
Well, I would say, the honest truth is I would say that's the wrong way to go about it. I had to learn kind of a hard lesson, even a few years into my career of being a professional touring artist musician, The reality is I'm here to serve other people. It's not the other way around. It's really easy to buy into that lie that people are here to serve you. Like the fans are coming in, and in the first few years of my career, I expected them to behave a certain way. Like when they didn't jump or when they didn't sing or when they didn't clap, whatever, it would affect my show. Like it would affect how I perceived how the show went. And instead of that mentality, I kind of flipped it and went, you know what? I feel like God gave me these songs and this message to share with people. So it's actually my responsibility to like set an atmosphere for God to move and for these people to have a good time and to be encouraged and leave better than they were when they walked in the room. So when that shift happened, everything changed for the better for me in my touring career. So I would say to that young person, like, if you feel like, one, you're being called to do music, or you have this gift or this desire on your heart, man, just pursue God and what he has for you. Don't miss out on what he has for you right now. Like, if you're so busy looking on the other side of the fence, thinking the grass is greener, I would say the grass is greenest where you water it and where you tend to it and where you nurture it. And so make the most of what you have now, and he will continue to open door after door after door for you, and he's going to blow your mind. But yeah, pursue what he has for you right now.
Well, Colton Dixon, thank you so much for blessing us with your time, man.
Yeah, dude, honor to meet you. Big fan.
Likewise. I mean, for sure. Like, I would love to. We'll get into this another time, but I bet you're a pretty darn good actor too. I'd like to have you in our movies in the future. That would be really cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. Fun. Your music, though, it's like your music is great, and I loved it. I just, I didn't know it before, and now I do, and I'm really grateful. So, Colton, thanks so much, and get some rest now that you're off your tour for a minute with your two babies.
You don't have to tell me twice. Yeah, rest.
See you, Colton. Thanks again for being here.
See you guys.
God bless
Pleasure.
you. Pleasure.
See y'all.
Thank you.
All right, you too, man. See y'all. Yeah.
Well, Raj, what a guy, huh?
What a great example of doing something for somebody else, and you're the one that gets blessed and goes to the top. Because he was doing something for his sister at American Idol, not for himself the second time.
Yeah.
And God just elevated him because his heart was not for himself, but for somebody else. I thought that was awesome.
I love that. I also just love the fact that, like, you think about, I've had that same thing, sometimes when I go out and speak, and you're, or even when you're doing a play or when you're doing something live, whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how that shift when you think they're not there for you, you're doing it for them to give back to them, that hopefully in some way that they will gain something from it. Even this podcast, like, hopefully you guys are being encouraged through this podcast, through people's stories. That was the whole purpose and intent of doing this. And so,
but you're shining a spotlight on other people too in what you do, and God's blessing you greatly for that. So you're another example of that.
Well, thank you. Again, I appreciate it. Tony, thanks you. Dylan, thanks you. Roger is here today. He thanks you. Ben Lauro, I thank you, even just for the introduction to Colton Dixon. But you guys are amazing, and please watch the YouTube. I tell you, you're not going to be sorry. I'm even blown away by our team. What they put together is insane. So please comment also. I want to know, do you like Colton's hat or do you not? We'll keep that between us. Probably not. It's going to be out there. And did you like Colton's shirt or not? And should Roger and I dress like Colton Dixon? So thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. And we'll talk to you next time. See ya.